God Østferie! God Østferie! Gå tur til siden. God Østferie! Hei, skal vi finne noe, eller? Kan ikke. Jeg skal på hytta sammen med mamma og pappa. Ja, synd. Ellers kunne du leke terrorister hele uka. Turist. Terrorist!
গল্পটাতে যেটা বলা হয়েছে যে মেয়েটি একটি কুকুর চায় কিন্তু অ্যাকচুয়ালি তার বাবা মা পুরোপুরি সেই ব্যাপারটা এড়িয়ে যাচ্ছে।
Okay, what he's saying is that in this film Boxer, we find that this girl is very fond of dogs and she wants to keep a dog as a pet, but the parents just don't heed her wish. The parents are too busy, first of all, with the second born, and then they think that she's too young to take care of a dog, and instead they give a stick, just dump a stick insect on her. But at the same time, the girl, initially she gives up all hope, she can't keep a dog, but then eventually when she gets the opportunity, she grabs it, and it's a story of wish fulfillment. And the children when children watch this film, they will learn that, if you have something, a burning desire in you, if you have a wish in you, then it can be fulfilled. You can find means of fulfilling it. That's what he's saying.
The film all over has reached the target audience, and idea is very, very, very entertaining, because I'd like to say that because the kid smuggles in the dog and gives the food to eat it, and she tells lies, but it's for the dog.
There is a negative point I found. That girl brings other stuff, means and she's telling lie to her parents. That can be a negative message.
Bulle? Er du tørst? Jeg skal gå ned og hente litt vann til deg.
Du, det ble litt dumt i sted, og vi er så slitne. Og dette her med hunden, vi tenkte at du skulle få det pinnedyr og øve det på, liksom, og så skal vi se om du er stor nok til å få et kjæledyr, sant?
Ja, men jeg er jo stor nok.
Har du spist pølser?
Ja.
Alle?
Ja.
Var ikke dette en pakke med 16 pølser?
Jo, jeg var veldig sulten.
For Boxer, I would say the moment a child, the target group is 6 to 8 years, I think. 6 to? Yes. 5 to 8. 5 to 8. So I think, pets, this is a very important factor in a child's life. That has a very, messaging which is very difficult for, what kind of lessons are we? There are many quote-unquote negative lessons, so as to say. But I wouldn't really bother about that. I would like my children to just simply enjoy movies.
The last scene with the old man in the hospital, it's really, I was very confused when I saw it the first time, because there is no resolution for this for this time, and I find it really difficult. I find there are some parts in this film I would criticize as in my job, to say that it's on the one hand, it's the resolution, how it's resolved, this part of film, and the role of the boy, because there's also no end with this boy who wants to play with a girl.
There's no clear characterization
Yes.
of his role.
Yes.
What
Of
is
his
he
role
there
and
for?
the relationship,
You
it's
need
difficult.
To complete a story,
Yeah.
basically this is a subtext.
Yeah.
That boy is a subtext for the film.
Yeah, but it's not clear enough, I think.
Now, Miss Warner is the commissioning editor of ZDF TV, which produces children's programs, and ZDF is the public service broadcaster in Germany. Now, she is the commissioning editor and she is also the producer, which means she also produces some of the programs for preschool children, which very small children, so 3 to 6 years old children, and she is focused on developing programs for developing language skills among the children. But of course, she has wide experience and she has worked in other areas also. So today we are going to discuss certain aspects of idea generation and scripting for short fiction films, and also we are going to discuss what sort of platform television provides for broadcasting this short fiction. What is the difference between developing an idea for a short fiction and developing an idea for a full-length feature film? What are the things that one has to keep in mind for selecting an idea for a short fiction?
Normally, as the name said, short film is shorter and therefore not so complex. But you have also to think about well-developed character, and normally the structure of the story is not so complex. And if you talk about children, then they are mostly linear stories, and that's the other thing. But short films are a wide range. You have the short films, up 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes. In our program, it's often 7 minutes programs. And the nicest thing in this is that you have a lot of room for creativity and for experiments, and that therefore I love to make short films. That's a great possibility to do this.
Do you think that you can tell a story completely in a span of 5 minutes, 5 minutes of screen time?
You can. Sure you can. And but you have, and that's normally one thing. Short film is easier, but it's not, because you have to concentrate so much on your main story, and that's really the establishing of your film must be so fast. And during 1 minute, you have only 1 minute to do this, or 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. And that's really it's a challenge for most of the script writers and also for the directors to be on the point.
If you see an Indian feature film, a Bollywood feature film, then there are plots within plots, number of characters, and even half an hour through the film a new character is introduced, and plots and subplots and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So in a short fiction, usually do you have these subplots, or would you recommend to do away with these subplots when you were dealing with short fiction?
Also for me, it depends a little bit on the age group for whom you are making the film. For the older ones, I think you must have subplots in some way. It's too boring, and if you only have one. But for the younger ones, you don't need subplots. They were confused if you have too much subplots. It's not linear enough for them. And they can, even the younger children can follow a story very well if you have a linear structure and not too confusing for them. But I think for the older ones, they are so used to watch adults films, though they can make it and understand it. Sometimes it's not good to have such a lot of plots, subplots, and such a lot of characters, and but that's for the feature films also not so good sometimes.
Yes, of course. Yes. And for a say 15 minutes film or a shorter duration film, Are those also 3-act films? In a feature film is 3-act film, and as Hollywood says that the first half an hour is act 1 establishment, then the next 1 hour is development and the crisis of the development and conflict, rising action as you say, and then the last half an hour is denouement. I mean that is usually the Hollywood formula for a 2-hour long film. Okay, but in a 15 minutes long film or even a shorter duration film, are those also structured as 3-act films or 3-act structure? Do they follow, or do they follow just a 1-act structure or 2-act structure?
I grow up with those American 3-act films, and for me it's kind of natural law that that a story has 3 acts, and they always have an establishing, and they always have a development and a resolution. But they are shorter than other. I think the establishing, especially the establishing, is very, very short, and also the resolution sometimes is very short. Sometimes it's only a question that is raised at the end, maybe. So I think without a 3-act form, you don't have a chance to tell a good story.
Can you just expand a little bit on that, and why do you think it's a natural law?
Yeah, for me it's kind of evolution, because things changed all the time. There are coming new experiences, and then one has to change, one has to develop. That's the way life is. And I think filmmaking is condensed life, concentrate of life.
Okay, no, but you know, those who want to break away from this 3-act structure, maybe what they want to say, they are not denying that there is an effect behind the cause. Maybe they want to say, what my understanding is that the cause, there may be, number one, there may be several causes, and which the viewer can, you know, as a filmmaker, they don't want to say, okay, this has caused this. Let the viewer come to the conclusion what has been the cause. You know, they want to leave the resolution or the conclusion to the viewer. They don't want to say that, okay, today we see this situation because these are the causes. They don't want to say that. They just want to expose the whole thing and let the viewer come to a conclusion.
If you raise questions and you do this with this open structure, and you don't answer that, there's confusing, and you can't. If you show the film in a classroom or something like that, and you discuss afterwards with the teachers or with the parents, or if you had this situation, it would be work, because everyone can think about his own solutions.
Solutions, yeah.
But normally in television that doesn't work.
Okay, means television program should have a proper closure or should come to a definitive conclusion.
Yeah.
So speaking of this television, because just first tell me that what kind of platform does television offer to the makers of short fiction in your country?
Unfortunately, not in our main program. There's not much room for short fiction. But we have some other channels also from public broadcasters, Arte or Dreisat or something like ZDF Kultur. ZDF has some new channels, digital channels, and there are possibilities for short films. But I have to say, there's airtime, but there's not so much money, and that's the other problem. Then, but there is time, and because there are very interesting programs, and we have some time for that. I say we will concentrate on target audience and script, but I think in behalf of this film we have to talk about the sound.
These are very typical Mongolian instruments that they were playing.
They play
lots of percussions and things like that, drums, and I don't know. But our children who usually watch movies, they are more accustomed to music with kind of Ben 10 movies, you know, those kind of sounds. So this is another kind of learning. I mean, it would be very good if we can make films with, you know, these kind of instruments, which people like Satya they used to make.
The inner theme is that the girl is always want to irritate the boy, and he want to get some tricks.
Become friends.
Yeah, but when she realized that the boy loses milk and she was repent for that.
Where the development of this friendship, I miss a little bit. That you see the development of this friendship, because I think that's the main story of this girl.
Your mind is nearly perfect and immensely appealing, which has a almost universal appeal.
Yeah, there are a lot of short films are really well made and nearly perfect. It is a little bit difficult to say, because I think every filmmaker would say there's some place for doing it better. But I like very much the Magic Tree film, the Devourer film with this cupboard who's eating books. And we had this Brazilian film, The Boy in the Slum and the Pamphlet, and we had this African film with Picture This. It's a girl who's drawing flowers all over the world for her, in her world, and these films are very nice and bright.
Idę do dyrektora. Niech zabiera tę głupią szafę!
Mogłaby grać w rodzinie Adamsów. Ona jest fajna, tylko jak ktoś niszczy książki, to wrzeszczy.
Czujesz? Co? Pieczone ciasto.
Why do you think that film is perfect? Why do you think? What is the main appeal of that film?
For me, it was it has such an energy, this film, and it represents life there, and it's nice. It's very bright art. You see all the poor people or something like that, but nevertheless, it's energy, it's life, it's a development, and it's a really nice, happy ending then, and with all the music, I like it very much.
When you are doing characterizations, You mentioned in one of your earlier questions that the characters have to be three-dimensional characters.
Yeah.
So what exactly do you mean by this three-dimensional character?
I think most of the people know it. A person with edges and flaws is more interesting than one who is very flat character. And the other thing is when you have even when you have a 15 or a 25-minute story, then your character needs more than only one side, and therefore you have to think about the history of the person, of the surrounding, the family, how he looks like, what his ambitions are, and all these stuff. You have to think about this, and that helps you during your story to develop your story.
But do you ever allow for stereotypes in when you are doing the characterizations? Is a stereotype strict no-no for you, or do you think there is space for stereotypes also?
There is space for stereotypes, especially when we deal with a lot of persons, and sometimes it's very helpful that one of the side characters or something like that are more stereotype, because it's very short-handed communication to the to the audience. They know immediately what he's doing and why he's doing, and you don't have to ask much. The history of him is told immediately, and that's sometimes it's very helpful.
Yeah, you mean the character is immediately recognizable as a type.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, but you would say that the main characters, the protagonists, should not be stereotypes.
We had a little raven as main character, and you can say he has some characteristics here. They are typical. He loves cheese, and that's also, you can say that's a kind of stereotype also, or something like that. But there must be much more. Not only he loves to eat all the time, or that's sometimes a problem that that everyone search such easy characterization. You have to think about some more. I think it's necessary for main characters to have more than one or two.
To be more complex than just me. Yes. Well, what about comedies? In comedies, are stereotypes allowed, or even in comedies you would say that the characters should have more depth and more complexity?
Stereotypes are allowed, and you have the possibility to play with them, and therefore you need to have stereotypes too. But when you have a comedy, for me, it's Charlie Chaplin, a big comedian, and he has more than one side, and you can say it's not a stereotype. Therefore, also the character is multifaceted, or I think that's necessary, but stereotypes are sometimes very helpful, and if you play with them, they're very interesting too.
Okay. When you are writing a short fiction, it has to be. Would you recommend to the writers that they should stick to one particular genre, like say for comedy or chase film, or horror, murder, mystery film, or horror film, or a family drama, or romance, or can they mix genres even in a short fiction film?
No, it's not risky to mix genres. When I work with a beginner of a story writer, and then I would say, please stick to one genre, because we want to finish in some time. If you have an experienced writer, that's no problem that he mix different genres. And if someone wants to experiment with some, it's also okay. But when we are in a TV making process, then we had only a short time, because we had a theory, and we had to do it in a short time, and then he has to be very secure on the basis of the genres, and I think that's it's necessary that you know what you are doing, and in which genres you are would like to work.
So that way you have to read a lot of scripts?
Yes.
Huh?
Yeah.
So how do you judge a script? By reading a script, how do you know that it has good potential? What are the markers that you look for in a script?
Yeah, normally when I read the first page, I know already. Often I know already, because when someone describes the background in full length, and then I know, okay, there might be a problem, because I want to know how the film will look like, and what the film about. That's the question of all the questions, what the film about, and which characters do they have, and how. And in a short film, it's necessary that I don't need 1 hour to explain the background of the character, and these are signs. And another really important point is the conflict.
In the first page, you should know what the film is about.
Normally the style of the. Now I worked there for several years, and I see the style of the writing sometimes. I find okay, that might be a problem, because we had in the workshop some students here who do it very well, and they describe what step by step what you feel in the film, what you see, especially what you see in the film, and some writers can't write it in this way, and that's always a problem. And another problem, big problem, is when you see the story is only on flat, it's on one line, there's no conflict in it, and when there's no conflict, normally there's also no climax and no surprising resolutions. We want to be a little bit surprised what happens next, and something like that, and not what we always know,
Should not be
what we know
predictable.
already. Yes.